All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to cover two tickers on this one. I want to cover BBAI, as you see on the screen right here, and I want to cover open on this thing. All right, real quick, I want to flash you. Oh, typo. Sometimes typos do good things. Not this time. UAVS. Wow. This is one we've been watching, and I mean, you can see it. We are trying to break this 200 moving average line, this purple line. And as I zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, we basically have not been over the line since 2021. A full 4 years under this line. If we can break it, oh my goodness! All right, so keep this one in your back pocket is definitely a thing I would say. All right, so BBAI is going to be the first one we talk about. I for sure see it going up after hours. Honestly, I'm kind of ignoring that right now, all right? I don't think it's enough to make me, go, ooh, is an easy thing to say. And I feel like every time I've been talking about BBAI on our videos, it's been all about volume and it will continue to be all about volume, all right? We've played these two lines so well. We go up, we come down, we go up, we go down, right? It's been a 50-50 zone that we've been emphasizing here, and it's literally what we're seeing, right? So oscillating over the main line, and then we just drew these two as our little bumpers if we were playing bowling, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's good to see those, but I'm telling you, I feel like I'm going to talk about volume the most, okay? Open. Listen, there are two very important things I'm going to talk about with open, and honestly, they're going to be not very much technical, and I know that's what you're watching this video for, right? But the important thing to call out is earnings are, I don't know what to pluralize that or not, but the earnings call is tomorrow for open. All right, and earnings are a crazy, crazy, crazy beast. I don't know what the word is, right? But very often I say it, earnings don't care what technicals look like. Earnings will make good technicals horrible and will save the ugliest of charts. You know what I mean? So I will give technical expectations, I will give earnings expectations, and really more than anything, man, this continues to be the volume king. All right, it is the queen for the ladies watching this thing. There is no stock that is getting more volume than open. It used to be BBAI, it used to be Regati, it used to be Soundhound, right? Like we are here looking for this exact stock. Who is wearing that volume crown right now? Open has been, and if earnings does what earnings does tomorrow, either it will lose all of it or this is just the beginning. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a really important day on open tomorrow, all right? Excuse me. Last thing to talk about is this amazing, I will even say crazy and very much unexpected, but this amazing, amazing index recovery we saw today. NASDAQ gaps up right here, closes basically to the penny, right? It's $4 over the 8 moving average, right? That's pretty insane actually. S&P 500 gaps up all the way right here, continues on up with such a strong candle. An insignificant wick on the top. Basically, the high of the day was the close of the day on the S&P 500, and the DJ30, the Dow Jones Industrial, exact same S&P 500, and you can even maybe say a little bit of a 50 moving average bounce, but really, I mean, what seemed like this crazy jobs number scare, and I really do think it was more the jobs correction than it was the tariff stuff. We talked about that on the Discord, even though I didn't make a video, and I'm so sorry I didn't make a video. But yeah, I'm shocked that the market just recovered that quickly. There's a little bit of a death cross scare right here, but let's see what the candles do, and let's see if we can get over the line right there, right? I think that's going to be a little bit more important, but no death cross yet on the S&P 500, no death cross on the NASDAQ, so I think in a little bit of a way, I'm going to look at the 2-to-1 versus that single potential right there, right? But real big recovery. I think they each need to do a little bit more, at the minimum confirm, right? But they each have a little bit of a moving average challenge to take out, right? But really nice day, and I think that makes it so much easier to be hopeful for tomorrow, but again, I think it's still some choppiness, right? And you know, I think another good headline to talk about is the EU trade. There were tariffs that are being paused because they want to make a better deal. I think that's a good headline, right? Will they make a good deal? Will it be this? Will it be that? Is it going to fail? Right? There's so many questions with that, but at the minimum, they're saying, hey, let's try, and I think that's a decent thing too. So market's looking good, news is relatively good. Let's see what comes from the week, but a very good start to the week, and like again, very unexpected. All right, so before we do go any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So BBAI, look, I said it in the opening thoughts, I'm going to say it again. I feel like most of these videos have been about volume more than the moving averages and the support and resistance lines. And again, I think that's going to be the theme for this video, all right? So we're going to start with the hourly, and I think it'll be way easier to see it on the 15-minute, and I'll show it shortly, right? But this is the full day today, right? This is from the beginning of the 4th all the way to the end of the day, right? And we'll see what the 5th looks like tomorrow. But volume starts strong. Actually does continue the next hour, but like I said, it'll look just a little bit different on the 15. And then from there, it just goes down, right? When you look at the 15-minute chart, let me just zoom out. Look, so this is the full day, right? You see the nice volume pop, but it then never catches up and goes down from there, right? So I think this is the truer picture of volume, all right? Ultimately, what's happening, we can't get over that 50-day line, right? I say it jokingly, but it is true. The average is just a C student in the classroom. I'm not asking for a B+. I'm not even asking for that bumper sticker that says my child is a good student, I'm proud, right? Like, I'm just asking for a C. And we're living maybe at C- kind of D+ world right now, right? Like, that's not how you do well, right? So that's the issue. And again, I think this 15-minute chart is the best way to see it. It wanted to. It actually kept and tried, but man, excuse me, just not enough. And then it literally went under the white line the rest of the day, right? So our issue is volume. I've been saying it for a bit now, right? Look, all of these are 5 days, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's around here. Let's try it. Sorry, I lost my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm just going to zoom in 1. This is the full view, give or take, for 50 candles. Our biggest chunk of volume is still right here. We need 1, 2, we basically need 4 or 5 weeks until all of those are gone, and this white line will start to come down and reset. Like, this is too big an outlier at the moment because clearly we can't get back up there, and it's making that white line too high, right? So we either need to get a lot of volume immediately, all right, I'm going to talk about this earnings right there because it's not that far away, or we have to wait about 5 weeks until this big monster volume goes away, and then all of a sudden this is the reality for most of the 50 days, and then that white line goes from expecting 144 million probably back down to like expecting 30 million, right? And as I zoom out, before we were here, where was that line? 52, right? I was clicking on an arbitrary day. It was a little higher, a little lower. I'm sure that one was 47, but yeah, around 50 is what it would basically come back to. And look, this was a 61 million day. This was a 58 million day. Like, we could crush those numbers, right? So that's what needs to happen. And look, it's going to be one of two things that does it. Either we got to wait next week until earnings. It's on Monday. It's the 11th. and earnings will dictate up or down, okay? Or in the next day or two, we gotta significantly break probably 730. All right, 730 will get me over both moving averages. It'll actually get me into this candle right here as well. Then the 720 line. If we can break 730 and 720, I think that'll bring some good volume between now and Monday, right? Excuse me. So tomorrow's Tuesday, we'll take out 730, hopefully both, right? But then Wednesday, we'll take out 720. Maybe Thursday, Friday, we can get a nice little pop. That would be an ideal next 4 days right now, all right? Otherwise, and probably if I had to guess what's going to be realistic, I think we're going to stay relatively flat until earnings on Monday, the 11th. And that's probably going to dictate if we go up or down, right? So earnings is crazy. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in when I cover open. It's kind of a good transition, actually. But earnings is crazy, and I'll get more details. I'm sure I'll cover BBAI one more time before that. But there are expectations. There are earnings per share numbers. There's guidance from the last calls. There are things BBAI needs to do to either make this jump to, like, if I had to guess, it'll probably jump to 850 on good earnings, or it'll probably fall all the way down to 570 is where I was clicking right there. So 8 something, 5 something, we're living at 7 right now, right? So that's kind of my earnings swing if I had to take a guess. So it's been all about volume. We really need volume to do the job, right? One more time, this thing is expecting 144 million shares, right? So if we were to get 146 million, or just a couple million more in a 7-hour day, we have to be around 21 million shares, right? We need 21 million shares per hour. If we are not over 40-ish million shares on that second hour, BBAI ain't doing nothing. All right, so just keep that in your back pocket. I saw some news. I don't think news is going to matter right now. We have earnings next week. That's going to matter more than any PR headlines are going to come. And realistically, if there's one thing I've kind of noticed, and then this is just opinion, right? I really don't have facts about it, but I think if you're starting to put a lot of PR before earnings, you're going to have bad earnings. You're trying to get people excited and hopeful before you speak and say bad things. You know what I mean? Most companies kind of just stay and wait, and then they'll say it all together, right? Hey, here's our good numbers. Here's our good news. Let's go, baby, go, right? Instead, it's hey, look at this shiny thing right here. Oh, by the way, problem, right? So I'm not implying that's going to happen, but yeah, I'm just kind of in my head, that's what I think. It's not like they're dropping a lot of news either, but for now, I really don't care about any headlines except breaking a moving average, breaking our golden line, breaking this fail line, right? Like we got to get over 770. And then earnings on Monday. Hey, if we're over 770 and we have bad earnings, yo, it's gonna fall back to 650 for sure. Maybe even that 570 that I talked about, right? So don't believe getting over this line is gonna supersede earnings. Earnings does not care about my colorful little indicators. It does not care about the one or the two or this chart reader's one. Like they're all blank charts when it's earnings. You know what I mean? So, and again, I'm gonna say a little more detail on that in the next one. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. I'm not even looking at the weekly chart, right? Because this is literally day to day until Monday. And then that earnings will dictate the next like week, probably months until the next earnings, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into open. And really, I picked open for 2 very significant reasons, all right? And I basically mentioned them both in the opening thoughts. Just in case you fast forwarded, I'm going to say it one more time, all right? Open has now become the volume king. All right, it's the volume queen for my ladies watching this thing right now. All right, like we are here looking for and riding the momentum of volume juggernauts. All right, and open, I show this all the time, right? Like let's look at SoFi. Let's look at a month of SoFi. All right. No, good job, SoFi. You beat me by a lot. Let's look at a week of SoFi. Oh man, even the weeks are pretty high. But look, this week right here was 247 million shares, right? That entire week. Open today was 264 million shares. Up, yeah, today, because it's just Monday. right? Like in a single day, this thing brings weeks of bigger stocks. And I'm telling you, there are tickers that I put my money in that will never get 264 million in an entire month. You know what I mean? So these are insane volume numbers, all right? And I said it again, I'm going to say it one more time because that is how important this is. With earnings tomorrow, that will either erase, and I mean erase, all of this volume, or it's gonna bring so much more to this thing, all right? Because again, earnings are the craziest thing in the stock market, in my opinion, all right? I've seen good earnings do bad candles. I've seen bad earnings do good candles, right? Like in some ways, it's hard to make educated statements on things like earnings, right? But the baseline thing to look at is going to be two things, all right? Number one, they are expecting a negative 1 cent earning per share. All right, so that's actually a loss per share, right? LPS instead of an EPS. So if this thing brings zero, right, literally just flat, let alone obviously a positive number, that's gonna do some amazing things. If this number is any whole number lower, you're talking about 100% off, right? Like if earnings per share or loss per share ends up being 2 cents, negative 2 cents, that's 100% miss, right? So this thing cannot be a cent or lower, all right? It really, really cannot, okay? Being a 2 cent loser is 100% off expectations. Yo, that might bring you all the way down to a buck 12. Maybe this 135 will be strong enough, but again, when you're expecting a 1 cent loss and you miss it by anything, that's a significant percent miss, right? So obviously the flip side, and I think these are good lines to look at. Yo, if this thing is 0 cents, it's 100% better than expected, right? If it's 1 cent, that's just, I mean, and you get it from there, right? So earnings per share is going to be the first thing you're going to want to look at, okay? From there, I want to click on this day right here. This is a good doji, right? It's not a big crazy day. Looks like this volume right here was 66 million shares. What are you? 68 million. Another doji's 53. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. We're talking about wow. What is that? 6 times 4? Oh man, I'm doing my math really poorly right now. It would be horrible to drop from 264 all the way down to 60 million or 50 million, right? Like, excuse me. I'm trying to do the math in my head. That's a 75% loss. That's what I was trying to say in my head, I think, right? So if earnings are good, it's gonna be a it's gonna beat this 1 cent loss, and I would guess we're gonna run to 30-30. All right. If earnings are bad, it'll start with the volume not breaking 60 million shares in the day, right? So if I'm assuming 60 million shares in a 7 hour day, it's gonna, if you see volume around 10 million shares per hour, wild game over. Wild game over. All right. And again, that would be my best guess if earnings is bad. If earnings is bad, people are not going to look at this. They're gonna move on, right? So if this goes below 183, all right, and again, it's going to be bad earnings driven, it's going to come all the way down to 130, if not as low as 109. All right. So I feel like I said I took too many minutes saying that, but really I was just emphasizing the earnings thing because I'm telling you, earnings is the craziest thing. All right. So I think that's really the best thing I got. I'm going to summarize it in the last couple sentences, and hopefully I didn't waste too much time. But good earnings, I'm expecting 330. Bad earnings, I'm expecting 125. I think somewhere in between that, with that 136 high side and 111 low side. All right. From there, that will probably dictate the rest of it, right? If we break, we will more than likely continue. That's a really low RSI. It's still a positive MACD. The green would go back over the red, and then again, volume will just end up taking off again. If it slips, I don't think it's going to be a one-time slip and go. From there, we will lose all five. You break all five and you fly. You lose all five and you die. And this thing just did it. And it can do it again if we get bad earnings. All right. So be careful here. At this point, it is all about that earnings reaction tomorrow. Make sure it confirms on Wednesday. But yeah, those are the lines up and down. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.